Game on, ladies! We are in the second best of 5 series of the Ryzing Cup playoffs. It is time for our two human players to go up against each other. Blade and Hawk are duking it out right now, and we are in the winner bracket. This is a double elimination tournament, which means that whoever loses the series still has a chance to march through the lower bracket and make it to the grand final. We already know who the winner of this goes up against, so whoever wins here, whoever wins this best of 5, has the pleasure, the unique pleasure, to go up against Happy in the winner bracket semifinal. So yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that too. And well, Last Refuge is our first map in this best of 5. And down to the bottom of the map in blue we have Hawk, whereas up to the top right we see Blade. Yeah, Blade was actually able to win one of the tournaments, which is a pretty unique feat because Happy just crushed pretty much every opponent nearly every single time that he participated in it. But one of the few times that Happy wasn't able to make it into the grand final, it was actually Blade that secured himself a victory there, which also brought him, of course, a lot of points that helped him to make it into the playoffs to secure that spot for himself. Archmage comes in, so the old geezer on the horse is going to come through as the first hero on both player side, as about to be expected. So it's going to be a little bit of Archmage time. Pretty much a game for, yeah, a little bit, or, I mean, yeah, it's Boomer action, ladies and gentlemen. The Boomer is going to be in the house and is going to be ready to dingle. So we'll see how much that is going to go for. But yeah, so at this point, let's have a little bit of a look who takes the lead here. I mean, I gotta say that I'm actually, I'm a little bit sad that the human players go up against each other in the bracket. That's a bit unfortunate. At the same time, it's kind of cool to have at least 2 humans in the top 8. So that's sweet. But obviously, it would have been pretty nice if they would not go up against each other and then the winner would face off against Happy. You can imagine that there's a couple of people out there that had immediately words about the pairing, but again, the seeding rules were available from the get-go, so it's just how the points worked out. But there were a few human players, I'm not naming anybody here, but that were not really too happy about all of this, because it is a little bit unfortunate going up against each other and then the winner goes up against Happy. Is like, nah, kind of got stuck on the wrong side of the bracket here. But as I said, double elimination system, so it's not too much of a problem. But as it stands, we have down to the bottom of the map now our our creep already about to be completed, Belt of Giant Strength as the item for Hawk, whereas Blade on the other side is now sitting currently up to the top and has now in the inventory Gloves of Haste and Gauntlets of Augur Strength. So a little bit of a different creep pattern for him. Did not focus as quickly onto the mercenary camp as his opponent did, but is still making the move over there regardless. So both players are just absolutely content with making sure that they are getting their experience up. No harassment is going on there. Town Hall still, no tech started just yet. And off we go. Rock Golem on level 6 up here is going to give us the big item. And Scourge Bone Chimes, aura item. Always need here too, so that is at least going to help a little bit with all the footmen. And yeah, aura items, just generally speaking, always of course need to have, and a big tool in a lot of these fights. Level 3, by the way, for both of the players. With the Wand of Illusion, we actually have Hawk in a position where he, at least on the scouting pattern, is going to have a bit of an upper hand, just simply because he can just move in continuously. Both are going to try and get the army boosted a little bit by just simply using the farm at the mercenary camp to buy themselves a few additional units here. Yeah, already. Level 3 and nearly a half for Blade, and there's the first little fight, so already Footman Frenzy is starting up right here. One element is everywhere, half of them actually not even shooting, but of course that's where the Wand of Illusion comes into play now. And one Footman already down. Hawk is currently sitting at 35 supply, and when we're looking over to his opponent, Blade is sitting at 32. Looking to the main base, there's the tech already into tier 2. Same is happening down at the bottom of the map. And it's all about the creep right now. Trying to get those heroes a little bit higher, get the experience. What elementals are being focused. Unfortunate for Blade is that he is currently starting to heavily attack his opponent's illusions. Figured out at least this one. But he needs to move out again. 30 supply right now against 35, so an advantage in numbers for Hawk. And I'm pretty sure that he's going to be able to get that Forest Troll Shadow Priest back to business with a little bit of body blocking. That's exactly what we're seeing. So body blocking on the Archmage, that worked out so far. Over here, the same attempt, of course, trying to take a few of the units down. Doesn't quite work out that way, but the units are still totally safe. So with the Forest Troll Shadow Priests, with 2 of them there, it's going to result in those bad boys being healed up soon enough. The cool thing, of course, about having them in your army is not only that you have heal, but also that you have Dispel, which is way more important against the water elementals there. So it's actually a big deal. Nearly level 4 now for Blade's hero, for Hawk's hero actually. My bad, he's sitting up at the top. And that level 2 aura is actually going to be really nice for him. So if he can take a few of those down, that would be the absolute dream. And he's trying to do exactly that. He's at least going to get 1. That's level 4 for him. So he already has the better Brilliance aura, which is going to allow him to get more water elementals in play soon. Arcane Vault is actually getting cancelled. Gets another one killed. That is actually really bad. Now, Blade at the bottom of the map is pretty much trying to do the exact same thing to his opponent and is able to at least kill a few of those units. But Blade is currently sitting at 30 supply, and when you look over to Hawk, he not only has quite a lot of resources banked up, but he's actually on pretty much the same supply level and is still attacking here. There's no level 4 for Blade just yet, but Hawk is now invading his opponent's base hard and is just trying to get those units eliminated one after another. That Forest Troll Berserker is already toast, and he can easily get another Footman if he wants, and will do exactly that. So both of them simultaneously trying to defend and attack at the same time. There's level 4 now finally for Blade as he kills another unit. That Forest Troll Shadow Priest still has to get the hell out of there, but there's the surround, and, well, no, sorry, not quite. Wrong water elemental, my bad. Blocks the path away. Mountain King is underway for both players now. We have 29 supply for Blade, and Hawk is at 37 and is still trying to get all of this done here and saving especially his main base, but another water elemental is about to go down. And that's more experience now for Blade again, who is pretty much at... sorry, for Hawk, who is pretty much at level 5 now with his Archmage. I mean, not quite, but you get a few more hits in and you're gonna have level 5 for sure. And that Archmage is not looking too pretty there either. So a really, really nice setup now for Hawk. Way ahead of his opponent. Ahead in experience, ahead in the supply numbers, and has done quite a bit of damage on the opponent's base there too. Arcane Sanctum now gets built, goes straight in for the double here. Mountain King is about to come out, and well, we have still 34 supply for Hawk and 29 for Blade, who's now desperately trying to get his hero a little bit higher up. There's a bit of a lead now for our blue player, so Hawk is currently doing well here. And is, of course, trying to creep the exact same camp. Having the Archmage on level 5 would help him a lot with level 3 water elementals. Always need to have. And he could pass over some of those items now to the Mountain King, which also helps. Especially that Belt of Giant Strength is, of course, pretty fantastic for that bad boy. 950 HP on level 1. And also a potion of greater healing in the inventory. You have fun killing that fucker. He is going to absolutely murder people. Compare the opponent. There's a potion of invulnerability in the inventory. That's at least nice, but at the same time, you're looking at the hit point pool that is just so much lower. And of course, for good reason. Blade now with 35 supply, trying to go on the offensive. The problem is that we're going to see level 5 in a second. There it is. That's level 3 water elementals, and he's at 41. Hawk is in such a great spot now. He's in a fantastic spot. Blade is behind in supply. He can't fight this. There is no way that Blade can actually fight this. Stormbolt connects, and that might actually eliminate one Footman. Well, Blade is using 2. Hawk is using 2, and Blade actually saves his, but there's a level up now also for the Mountain King. And, yeah, Blade is in some trouble here. Supply numbers are slightly better for Hawk, and as if that wasn't already bad enough, we're just looking at better creeping here too. So if he gets the Archmage out, all of the experience is going to end up on the Mountain King. And he is already had an experience. So he's in a neat position there. Yeah, Book of the Dead for him. Top side, we have the double Arcane Sanctum also built. 38 supply now for the red player. And down here, what about Hawk? Hawk is at 39. Still also seeing tight, but he has the first priests now out. Just as we're seeing this. Alright, up towards the top. Yep, there's already trying to go for the bigger camp spots. Yeah, and you look at the 2 experience levels of the 2, and there's not even a level 5 yet for Blade. Now, of course, he's going to get it over here. But as all of this continues, state of the game is still that we have Blade in Hawk in a great position because he has superior heroes to his opponent. And he is just going to continue that trend and is now also, of course, picking up some neat items here on top of it too. So Hawk right now with the Book of the Dead, as already mentioned previously, it's also the Medallion of Courage for the Mountain King. And that Mountain King is just going to be an absolute monster. I mean, just look at this. That guy has plus 15 damage now. We have him with the Medallion of Courage, Circle of Nobility, Gauntlets of Ogre Strength, Belt of Giant Strength, and a Potion of Greater Healing. He has 1,250 hit points on level 3. And he is, I mean, he is getting closer and closer to level 4, whereas on the other side, Blade hasn't even gotten his Mountain King onto level 3 yet. Finally, there it is. There's a double upgrade for him and finds the Circle of Nobility. But this is still going to hurt. That Mountain King is just unkillable. There's Claws of Attacks on top of it now too. Level 4 already for him. 49 supply for Hawk. Blade is at 50, so both of them are currently knocking onto the low upkeep. We have Spellbreaker slowly coming into play now for him as well. But the situation here is actually still kind of nasty. Alright, off we go. There's Blade, starting to move in with the Archmage, level 5, Mountain King level 3, so slight advantage still goes over to Hawk as he has to defend his base. Talking about defending stuff, he's actually building himself an expansion now too. So if he can defend here, if he can actually hold this and maybe even force Blade to TP, he's gonna have an advantage in resources over his opponent. That's a big deal here for sure. Attacks are already coming in. Mountain King is taking a bit of a beating. Eats a Stormbolt too, straight to the face, baby. He was already not a pretty boy before that, but that didn't really help his cause. Priests are slowly going down too. Another Stormbolt hits home, and a Potion of Invulnerability at 50 HP. The Dispel on the Book of the Dead, that's a bit of free experience that he just got. Whole idea was, of course, just surround the hero. It's still time for another Stormbolt if he has the cooldown though. But Hawk is now sitting at 40 supply, and when we're looking over to Blade, he's at 50. So he's actually doing really well here as the superior Spellbreaker numbers, has 1/1 upgrades for them. Whereas we see 0 upgrades for Hawk, and Hawk is all of a sudden on the defensive. Now he has the expansion at the top left, so that's a huge deal of course, but if he can't hold the attack at the bottom of the map, then all of that is not going to matter one bit. 50 supply against 38 speak a pretty clear language of who is currently having the lead. There's of course a bit of a defender's advantage now, but as more of those priests die, that's becoming a big problem. And with the 1/1 upgrades, Blade is just doing his thing now. He looks at an Archmage on level 5.5, so he's actually starting to catch up in experience with his opponent. Mountain King isn't level 4 yet, but that's going to happen any second. There it is. Level 4 upgrade is in. Found himself the Helm of Valor, by the way. And Blade has the resources, but Blade needs to get the units in, and he lost one of the Arcane Sanctums too. So that's a pretty big problem. Then again, the Archmage is low. The Mountain King doesn't have enough mana though, so that's a problem. Now the Water Elemental is in, and that Mountain King is just chasing. That Mountain King is just saying, get the fuck out of here. Trying to chase him down, can turn things around maybe, but Hawk is down to 28 supply. 28 supply against 58. I mean, Blade knows pretty much what's happening here. He doesn't know the expansion at the top left, but he knows that he has a chance now. And with him eliminating the second Arcane Sanctum, that's pretty much no tier 2 units anymore for Hawk. Hawk was ahead on hero levels, and he had some nifty items, but now he's falling farther and farther behind, and this is pretty much a devastating spot for him to be in. Outside of this base over here, there's not a single advantage anymore that Hawk has over his opponent, and that's a massive problem. There's another Stormbolt, Mountain King, the focus. He has the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability and uses it in the nick of time. Then again, the stun against the Archmage over here, but that's not going to be enough to take him down. No. Still has a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability in the inventory. Also, of course, the Scroll of Town Portal, and that is just way too much damage. And both heroes of Bladeside are so incredibly low. And the Mountain King moves in. They go in for the last and final hit. That should be the end of it. Right now, there's the kill against the Mountain King. There's the level 6 immediately. And there we have it. That was bad news for Hawk, and that is game. Apparently some ping issues for him right now, but the GG gets called, as Blade takes the victory in game number 1 of the best of 5 series. Game on, everybody! So, map number 2, Blade ahead in the best of 5 in the first round of the winner bracket. We actually went for a rehost here, because after we hosted the second map, the first time, Hawk again said that he has problems with the ping, so we actually switched hosts now, and hopefully that solved the issue. Hawk already talked about it a bit at the end of the first game, which is of course always a little bit unfortunate if you complain about ping problems at the end of the game. And not saying that he didn't have any, by the way, but apparently issues, whatever they are solved now, so we are good to go here, and that's of course great. But at this point, there is a lead in the best of 5 for Hawk's opponent. So starting on the left side of the map in blue, we actually have Blade now, and over to the right side of the map, Hawk currently starting down 1 map in the best of 5 series. As I pointed out a couple of times, this is a double elimination bracket, so the loser of this series will drop into the losers bracket, has another shot at reaching the grand final through that, so no big problems on that front. But let's see who makes it to the next round of the tournament, where he will face off against Happy. I mean, the next opponent that you have to face is Happy, so that's not going to make things any easier. And off we go. Archmage comes in again. The old geezer on the horse is going to ride around a little bit and see what he can pull off there. And it's honestly a little bit interesting. Honestly, you feel that heroes that either ride a wolf or a horse should be a little bit faster than other heroes, right? Like, that just seems like something that is kind of obvious. I'm always a little bit amazed when you look over at, let's say, for example, an Archmage, a Death Knight, or, let's say, a Farseer, and they have the exact same movement speed as a Mountain King, who, with his tiny feet, is just trying to tibble after them. So it's always a bit interesting. That would be something where we could use a little bit more realistic things here in WarCraft 3. But then again, there's enough things on Blizzard's agenda right now, so that's one of the things they probably don't want to worry about at this point. But as it stands, on the left side, Mercenary Camp gets tagged, both, by the way, with the same creep pattern for the time being. And Hawk on the last map, seriously, he was initially in a pretty good spot. I mean, setting the expansion up, if he can force Blade to just move back from his attack, he pretty much wins the game just on having the extra income. But as with the previous series between Happy and Spiral, the timing of the player without an expansion was exceptional. And despite the fact that he had some problems on the heroes, if you compared the hero levels alone, he was able, through micro and proper targeting at the right time, to set himself a little bit ahead of his opponent and make it happen. So that was pretty neat. Ring of Regeneration for Hawk. Blade, on the other hand, gets the Claws of Attack +9 for his Farseer. Always neat on a ranged hero. And that's all about trying to get to level 2, level 3, of course, and more important talents, since you have the level 2 Water Elemental then in. And off we go. Both of them, again, just like chilling a little bit. A bit of scouting going on, though, at the same time, as a footman is moving over. Just see, okay, what's happening here, and can I steal something away? Not the case, but he might be able to get one of the Forest Troll Berserkers. So there's a footman coming in too, and yes, here we go. Who wins the ping battle? And it's Hawk. So Hawk gets the Forest Troll Berserker, but it was a neat move. I like it. It's honestly a sweet move by Blade to just move over and try and steal it away. It didn't quite work out, but that would probably have annoyed the hell out of Hawk if it works. So there we go. 2 Claws of Attack now, which means that we have +15 extra damage on those auto attacks of the Archmage. Yeah, that old geezer is starting to pack a punch. He's definitely working out. I mean, he has the biceps and the triceps routine going on strong. Goes to the gym every single day and gets rewarded with a lot more damage here. He swings that staff like no other. You get him a little bit more working out and he can play baseball with that thing. It's gonna it's going to hand a staff in and gonna get a baseball bat and swing for the fences here. But as it stands, for now at least, it will have to do with a few fireballs, which isn't bad either. Try and dodge that. So off we go. pretty much same experience. We've seen the exact same camps taken, but there's a small but important difference because Hawk went shopping. Yeah, Hawk wanted to get a couple of new Nikes, so boots of speed for his Archmage, which is always interesting because the guy's riding a fucking horse. If anything, I don't understand that. Yeah, not a lot of logic required here. But as it stands, it's all about the micro. And he is actually able to get that footman out, or is he? Yeah, moves it away again. The problem, of course, that you have is now that Blade is in a spot where he can get those last hits in very, very easily with the extra damage that he has. We have one expansion that is pretty much just at the bottom left now, and therefore a difference already in playstyle, because as you could already tell on the minimap, Hawk hasn't gone for an expansion. Instead, we're seeing him tagging into tier 2 and adding the Arcane Vault already. So that's the games, that's the mirror matches that we love. One player going in expansion, the other one starting things up with attack. So we are ready for some action here. Water Elemental's coming out, and it's all about taking down the Scout Tower. It's getting upgraded here. And I don't really think that's going to happen anytime soon. Well, second peasant's about to go down. Alright, one peasant down. Few getting already rebuilt. Water Elemental is getting attacked, which means extra experience for you if you take it apart. A few more hits keep coming. And Hawk has to back out here. By the way, boots of speed now for both of them. So at least on that front, we are dead even again. In the main base, we also have now the tech into a stronghold, but of course, slightly delayed Kappa. Just slightly. Now, I mean, this is what you sacrifice, right? If you spend resources to go for an expansion, then you just ensure that you keep, not stronghold, my bad. Then you just make sure that you are a little bit behind in experience, which means, in tech, which means a late second hero, later access to tier 2 units, and Hawk is trying to crush that expansion before it makes a difference here. He goes straight for neutral hero, which is going to empower him and his army a lot sooner, since that hero is available right away, whereas if he goes, let's say, for Mountain King, for example, he will have to train that in his altar. So right now, Breath of Fire trying to shut down mining as quickly as he can. Arcane Vault and expansion is another thing that he doesn't want to see here, so he takes that apart. But it's all about the attacks now. And as we already discussed a little bit earlier, if you look over towards Blade, he still has that plus 15 damage on the Archmage and is trying to put it to good use. We have Blade on 45 supply, Hawk is at 41. Has, of course, that second hero, but looking over to the main base, that tech into the keep is soon going to be done too. There's a bit of scouting happening at the bottom right with the sentry ward, so he's fully aware that there's no expansion for his opponent, and Hawk without an expansion, it simply means that there is a bit of a timer. Hawk has to crush this. If he gives his opponent too much time to catch up in tech, then that's a problem. And as you can tell here, there's no tech into Castle or anything. We have a double Arcane Sanctum instead, but all the way up to the top. Town Hall is nearly done upgrading, and that would allow him to get easily a second hero into play. And then also, of course, start with those Arcane Sanctums. As the footmen are pretty low, he wants to have this Arcane Vault as quickly as he can to keep those bad boys alive. But right now, it doesn't really seem like Hawk has a chance of crushing that expansion anytime soon. And he's actually sending now peasants down to the bottom right of the map, which have, of course, already been spotted by the sentry ward here. So he is going to try and expand as well. But that is going to give a bit of a lead to Blade one way or another, because we have the Mountain King now halfway done. There's not really a lot that can really seriously threaten the Altar of Kings. Arcane Sanctum is built by 2. Alright. One down, so he gets one peasant annihilated, gets the second one too. But, yep, there's a cancel attempt. Nice! That's actually really good timing from Blade. So he comes in, starts to focus down those peasants, and is definitely going to, I mean, if he wants to, he's going to get both of them. There's a bit of a main base attack still going, but the expansion already got cancelled, and Hawk is in trouble now. Hawk is in serious trouble. In professional circles, we call it deep shit. He's now in a spot where he needs to crush through this, but there's a really nice wall. Nobody can move through that. He has the resources. Blade, that is, so he's actually TPing back to fend this attack off. Blade is at 52 supply. Hawk is at 43. There's the level up for the Archmage on the red player side. So level 4 for him now on the first hero. But guess what? Blade already has level 4 for himself too. And he has the Mountain King, who can now use those Storm Balls to take the army down a little bit more. 40 supply against 50. Level up for the Brewmaster at least, so that's neat. Oh, the Mountain King! Run, baby, run! And yeah, that's a kill. That was a bit unfortunate for Blade. He still gets the water elementals out, and he has that extra damage on the Archmage, which is of course nice. Blade has 1,000 gold, by the way. He has 1,000 gold right now. And Hawk is currently sitting at 34 supply. 32 has a few resources, but the army that we see for Blade is just too much. And down here, of course, he can now also gain himself a little bit more lumber. Arcane Sanctum has built that wall completely up. The Donald would be proud. And already Mercenary Camp. This is where everybody is just saying, like, it's shopping time, baby. We have the Mud Golem in play. Hawk got himself an Augur Maul on level 5, but he is losing units as we speak. 36 supply against 40 supply against Blade's 48. 1,200 gold still for Blade on the other hand. And yeah, this is not looking great for Hawk now, because both of those Archmages are soon going to be on level 5. Hawk is getting attacked. He's about to lose damage. He needs to TP out. He needs to TP out. If he gets more attacked and he has to actually jump away from this, he's going to be in trouble. Alright, there's the Stormbolt, there's the hits from the Archmage. Oh, and he gets away for now. Fair enough. But he's in trouble. This attack needs to yield dividends and currently just doesn't. There's a Brewmaster needs to pass that ring over and does. Finally, there we go. Ring of Regeneration on the Archmage now. That's definitely a better look now. 38 supply against 50. Blade still ahead, and down to the bottom right, the expansion is about to be built again. So Hawk is realizing that this is likely not going to happen for him, and he has to TP out. So he's trying to save the game by building an expansion. But if Blade is able to cross the map now and force a cancel again, then this is pretty much lights out. It's already bad enough as is. And now that he has a moment to breathe, we can actually see Blade not only go for a few additional creeps, but he can also start to buy himself a few more items soon enough. Of course, waiting also for the opportunity to get his Archmage to level 5 in the first place. Mountain King on 3 wouldn't hurt him either. But still, this is looking like we could definitely see a 2-0 lead for Blade now. Now, Hawk is building this as quickly as he can, but he's at 39 supply. Doesn't really have a ton of resources or anything. When we're looking over to his army, he pretty much is relying on mercenaries and also a couple of spellcasters here. Has the Archmage on level 5 now, but so does Blade. And Blade is already starting to get his tech up quite nicely. And with tech, we're talking Spellbreakers. +1 attack upgrade on the Spellbreakers. We have the Archmage near level 5. He found another claw! Are you kidding me? Like, what the hell? +21 damage now. Damn, son. I mean, he is really, really going for the fences now. That guy is just firing away hard. Yep, already a bit of attack. Where's that Stormbolt when you need it? Could throw it out any second for the extra stun and start to hammer those down. Needs to be careful with the Mountain King in the first place, to be honest. Alright, upgrades for Blade. Still the 1 attack upgrade. And he's starting to take at least that Augur Mauler down. Augur Mauler down. Mountain King in a bit of trouble. Trying to get away. He has the Boots of Speed in the inventory, as he should. But he really shouldn't fire it against him. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability has been used here, but Hawk is at 45 supply now, and when we're looking over to Blade, he's at 62. Massive advantage. And upgrades, yes, Blade massively ahead. 1-1 upgrades on those Spellbreakers. Hawk doesn't have a single one. There's the upgrade for the Mountain King, by the way, levels up to 3. And now with another Stormbolt, it just seals the deal or the death of another priest. There's a good slow though, but it's not gonna be enough. Can he get the kill? Maybe! Mountain King should be able to get away here. Yeah, the Arcane Vault is in, so he can buy himself a Potion of Healing, which he does. And I don't know how to say this, but that Stormbolt is going to end the game. Bam! There we go. Hawk, 39 supply. And Blade at 61. All that Blade has to do is clean up. Needs to take this army down. He can go for the expansion directly and take that apart. With the extra damage that we see on the Archmage, he's now just firing shot after shot and pretty much insta-kills shit. It's not that bad yet, but we're getting there. 5.5 already, so he's going to be the first one to hit level 6 now too. If there's a counter kill against the Mountain King, then maybe he has a shot, but at this point the question is really, what is Hawk expecting from this game? And the answer is not much. GG, and that's a 2-0 lead for Blade in this best of 5 series. Nicely done on Echo Isles as Blade takes the victory. GG, and well played. Game number 3. Blade is in the lead now. Well, Hawk starting here at the top right of Concealed Hill is now actually in a spot where he has to pretty much pull off a reverse sweep if he wants to have a chance to go to the next round of the winner bracket. I had, honestly, I kind of expected a bit of a different series here between the two of them, because so far Blade just looked very solid. I mean, seriously, he looked really convincing in the way that he played this out. He had maybe a couple of moments where losing a hero seemed a bit awkward at times, but Hawk apparently is fine now with the new host that we had for game number 2. And Blade just absolutely dominated that game from start to finish. He went for the expansion style, he had no problems really to defend it, and also thanks to the sentry wards that he found, he was well aware of Hawk's attempt to expand at the bottom right of Echo Isles, shut that down quickly, forced the cancel, and then just played with the superior economy that he was able to build up for himself. So a pretty solid performance from Blade, really well done. We now currently have, of course, the Archmage coming in at the top right again, on Concealed Hill down to the bottom of the map, the same opening for Blade of course too, and he finds himself in an extremely comfortable lead here. If you're 2-0 in a best of 5, there's so many options of how you can play this. I mean, first of all, never change the running system, right? So you can just continue what you're doing, but also you have now the option to throw a couple of cheeses out there, maybe mix things up a little bit, because you have the option to be a bit more greedy in the way that you play the game now, and hope that it pays dividends for you, because even if you lose it, if you lose one map, it's not over for you just yet. And for Hawk, this must be a bit of a frustrating situation now too. There's a lot of pressure on any player, and if you're this far behind in the best of 5, it honestly is tricky to just focus on the game at hand and just simply say like, alright, let's play it one map at a time. That's always a little bit to be problematic. And, well, let's have a bit of a look of what's going on in this. First of all, Archmages are all out again. We have already a bit of creeping going on. We're not going to see a big of a difference here at the beginning of the game at least. And, well, let's have a little bit of a look there. Top right. I honestly just want to see what Blade is going to do in this game, because so far he might actually be the aggressor again, and yeah, already moves into the middle, tries to take the creep over here. Let's see if we're going to have the same pattern, a bit more of the defensive one. I mean, obviously the question is now, where do you creep next? Do you go for the same spot here, or do you move up to the top? Yeah, he decides to go straight up to the shop, a little bit closer to it, and already starts to go for the creep jack. Hawk comes in, Water Elemental is taken down, so denying the experience to his opponents. That's already neat. And Hawk sneaks in level 2. Okay, items, Gloves of Haste plus a Circle of Nobility. Both players now on level 2. Both players with the Brilliance Aura. And Footman Frenzy once again. The Micro Wars right here. 4 Footmen against 3 right now. In the main base, also one Arcane Tower, of course, down here. Upgrade is ongoing. Nobody taking directly into Keep just yet, but that's going to happen in just a bit. And here we go. There's always the attempt to just get a bit ahead by taking down a Water Elemental, taking down a Footman. And honestly, in the mirror, every single bit counts. Every small move that you can make counts for sure. And here we have both players doing the exact same play with Militia, trying to creep and get the heroes even a little bit higher. We have that up at the top, and we currently have it down at the bottom of the map. So there's the Mantle of Intelligence, boosting the primary attribute, of course, of the Archmage now too. And, yeah, well, question for both of them is just simply who is going to walk away with the creep check with a slight advantage, taking a few units down, maybe get the better creep pattern here. Town Hall is getting upgraded on both sides. And down here, Hawk is being aggressive again, as Blade is trying to get himself some extra experience. By creeping, we have Hawk getting aggressive at the bottom of the map, taking one peasant down. I mean, honestly, if he can take a few more, that would be a huge victory for him already. When it comes to experience, Hawk is already slightly ahead over his opponent. Things are changing a little bit as Blade is picking up those creep camps. But that's a lot of peasants that are actually dying right now. If he focuses that properly, and indeed he does, then he is taking a huge part of that economy down. And the Town Hall is being upgraded. It's halfway done. It means not only that we have Hawk's hero on level 3 way quicker than what we see from Blade, but it also means in addition that there is a lot less economy for Blade now than for Hawk. It's not going to really put a dent into the gold economy, but when we're talking about lumber, that's a very, very different story. And when it comes to tech, that really matters. So Archmage on level 3 right now. Over to the right side of the map, of course, the Fountain of Health is being put to some good use. We're going to see the same thing on the left side as long as Night is still there. But there's another Water Elemental summoned over it. And guys, this is getting problematic for Blade. A lot. I mean, he is creeping and trying to get himself a good deal here on the Shredder so that he can at least come back on the Lumber, but this is still an issue. Another Water Elemental is down. The Archmage on 3. Both, by the way, have Archmages on level 3 now. Hog is on 30 supply. Blade is on 32 up to the main base. Well, there's the Town Hall nearly completed. And Hog has some extra resources now that he can obviously use too. Alright, 30 against 32 supply, but the Shredder is going to change things again a little bit. Shredder is going to be pretty neat, because thanks to the Shredder we're going to be in a spot for Blade where he's not going to run into any lumber problems. He was pretty much forced into that move. But that's the best way to really deal with that. So down here he needs to replenish at least some peasants again. But he also goes up to the top and is going to start the creep. Yes, he does. That's something that actually a Hawk doesn't have. So Hawk is now in a spot where he was still able to kill quite a lot of units. I mean, if you think about it, he was actually just able to get himself to nearly the same level as his opponent does by simply taking peasants down. Arcane Sanctum is now being built. We have a second hero coming in this case it's the Mountain King. We see the same also coming through for Blade, but just a little bit later, so the reaction is definitely delayed here. But with Blade just continuing the focus onto the creep camps, this is starting to become... I mean, it's a little bit of a weird intermezzo because we have Hawk being aggressive, but Blade is just not breaking the pattern of creeping, and that gives him gold, that gives him items, that gives him experience. He has a Potion of Greater Mana, Rune Bracers, extra gold for him. Against Stormbolt, that's going to be nice. And he's now in a spot where especially the Potion of Greater Mana is, of course, fantastic. The Archmage is low, and that's a problem, and that kill against the Shredder is another big deal. Him breaking through here is actually fantastic for Hawk. It's a really, really interesting game now all of a sudden. Because here comes the TP, trying to also close this off, and the Mountain King is soon going to be there. But we already have Hawk with his own MK, and the Stormbolt comes in. There are no boots on either hero. But this puts a lot of pressure onto the Archmage. And Potion of Greater Mana, yes or no, doesn't really matter at this point anymore. That is going to be a problem in the long run. Hog is on 41 supply. Blade is on 37, so he's actually behind here. And him losing the Shredder is a problem. And he's just now getting the Arcane Sanctum build. Over here, it's not only done, we actually have the first few priests in the army of Hog. So Hawk, thanks to the initial aggression, was able to set himself up with a better economy and take a slight lead in tech thanks to that. But of course, we still have some decent items over on the side of his opponent. And level 4 for the Archmage, which is actually something that really matters here too. Stormbolt again, and he's trying to get the Archmage away. Ooh, couldn't keep him out of range, and he survives with 30 HP. Holy cow.
Forces are under attack.
Whew, there's a surround attempt, and he closes it. Closes the surround on the Mountain King, but both Mountain Kings get attacked now. And I can tell you which one's dying faster, which one's dying quicker. The level up! And there's the GG. Yeah, well, levels up but loses too much, and Hawk is just too strong here. Has a good tier 2 army out there already, and that is the first win for Hawk in this best of 5. Nicely done, GG, and well played as we are heading into game number 4. Game on, everybody! Yeah, game number 4. Off we go. Blade in the lead in the best of 5 here in round 1 of the winner bracket at the Rising Star Cup playoffs. But Hawk did well. Hawk did well on map number 3 and was able to put on continuous aggression against Blade with attack after attack after attack, taking down peasant after peasant and also eliminating the Shredder after Blade realized that he is going to run into lumber problems. And those lumber problems resulted in him getting the Mountain King out a bit later, getting also his tech out a bit late, and Hawk capitalized on all of that, so he did extremely well on that part. Now in Terra Now Stand, this is map number 4, and therefore Blade's second chance to decide the series in his favor and make it to the winner bracket semi-final, where he then would have to face off against Happy. But Hawk, of course, wants to make that reverse sweep a reality, and he made the first step, but now he has to follow up with the second punch. And if he can do that or not on Terraner's stand, that's what we're gonna find out together right now. So already we have... Oh, Mountain King. Alright, MK is in on both sides. Yep, seen that a few times in Terraners, so now we have that again. And I honestly like that a lot more than just water elementals the entire time. I got this thing where I just hate mages in general. You give me like any kind of game in mages, I just hate them. Snap your finger, everything disappears, never really fight yourself, but just like summon shit for you. It kind of feels OP. You know, the Mountain King, he might be a little bit short, but that guy at least, you know, he wields a hammer. That in and of itself is already something that resonates with me quite well. If you yield the banhammer in Twitch, that's or anywhere else, that's always a cool thing. And I mean, he throws hammers out too. Question is always where does he have all these hammers that he's throwing out? But hey, that's something that we don't think about too much, but yeah, Mountain King, he is already a little beefy dude. So, yep, off we go. MK is already in on both sides, and we're off to the races. So, let's see how... It's hammer time, boys. That's the only thing to actually say here. It is hammer time. Oh, yeah. And with a bit of scouting from Blade, he obviously knows exactly what's happening on the opponent's side. There's also the Renegade Wizard going down, Mantle of Intelligence +3, and Slippers of Agility +3 on the other side. Both players with a bit of scouting. And yeah, let's get this show on the road here. Let's get a bit of Mountain King action into this game. Little Wolf. Nothing is worse than an MK. Well, there's a few things probably that are worse, but an MK on level 5 is still a beast. Back in the old Reign of Chaos days, when you had, as an undead player, it was pretty much ghoul days, right? So you played pretty much Dreadlord, Death Knight, ghouls, double aura ghouls, and if you had a Mountain King on the other side against you on level 5, Clap would immediately annihilate you. Talking about annihilating people, Potion of Greater Mana. Oh my god. That's insane. Now we have a bit of a difference when we're looking over to the skills that the two players are going to be using here. We have Clap for the Mountain King with all that mana that he's running right now, whereas on the other side is of course all about the extra stuns on the passive. But having a Potion of Greater Mana here is insane for Hawk. That's fantastic. Honestly, it doesn't get much better than that when you're playing MK first in particular. So now he's going to be in a really, really awesome spot to try and make that happen. And yeah, it's... I mean, he can just stumble and clap 6 days to Sunday as this continues. Both of them are now creeping their expansion. We of course have also one of those farms over at the mercenary camp so that they can try and get a few additional units out there. Over here, parry up the vitality. So that means we have now 1000 HP on the Mountain King on level 3. Let's take a quick look over to what exactly Blade is running away with. Oh, not too bad either. I mean, we have a pattern of energy for him at least, so he doesn't get the Potion of Greater Mana, but at least he has some extra shots that he can fire in those fights. And both of them are also going for an expansion right now. So there's no big difference here when it comes to at least the strategy that they both are trying to execute here. I mean, the creeping pattern is more or less identical to a point. Now that we have Hawk on level 3 and with a full inventory, he's starting to make his way over to the top of the map, so nobody's actually creeping the shop just yet. You look into the main base, and of course there's nothing really happening there yet either on both sides, since they both invest their resources into a second base. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, a bit of a check here, if you can maybe creep check somebody, that doesn't really happen. And now it's Mountain King time, Stormbolt versus Stormbolt, and of course the idea is always to take a couple of those units down. Interesting twist here though, we have an attempt to take down Hawk's Mountain King, so hero focus from Blade instead of going for units, and yeah, he is doing quite a bit of work here. Alright, Clap is already in, and let's not forget that we have still quite a bit of energy, and that is gonna force a TP eventually if he keeps that up. Or at least it should. Where's the next Stormbolt? None here. Yeah, I had at least a few remaining, but instead we're seeing the Stormbolt actually in Forceful Berserker, or the stun at least. Clappy clap time, and keep in mind, he actually used it already. He used the Potion of Greater Mana here. Hawk is at 33 supply, Blade is at 28. Potion of Greater Healing has been used, but now Hawk is starting to be in a bit of trouble here. He uses the Stormbolt to keep him the Mountain King off his heals. So far so good. Mana is in and doesn't get used just yet. So the items that they found initially are already completely used up. But the big advantage that we still have for Blade, generally speaking, is that he, of course, has the bigger mana pool on his hero, thanks to the pattern of energy that he found. So that actually is going to be worth another Stormbolt or two later on in the game. Yeah, clap on 2. Stormbolt on 2, so that's where a lot of this difference comes from. And both of them are actually really low here, but the surround is hitting Blade. Oh, why turn around? Body blocks himself. Fire that footman. Fire him. Seriously, you're fired. He would have been able to get out, but the footman blocks Blade's hero, and he has to use the TP. That guy had one job, and it wasn't blocking his Mountain King. Yeah, he needs a talking to at least. He should be demoted. Honestly, demoted to be a peasant. Go and work and just like, seriously, get some lumber, dude. Just get some lumber. You should be able to demote people in WarCraft 3. That would be a new feature here for sure. So, yeah, he was paid off. I have no idea what exactly Hawk paid him. Maybe an extra bottle of vodka or something. But whatever it was definitely apparently enough to change the loyalties here of the footman over there. So, yeah, that's the thing. That would have been a nice creep check. And actually, at this point, it is going to be. Yeah, there's a Shredder, but Hawk, I'm not sure if he can make that happen right now. That Shredder is going to be toast. Unless he gets himself also a Zeppelin. Yeah, Stormbolts being fired on both sides. Hawk! What? He lost the Shredder. He lost the Mountain King. What the hell? Oh my god, that timing. What the hell? That timing. He comes in and it couldn't go any better for him. Kills the opponent's Mountain King. And now we're in a spot where Blade is ahead in experience all of a sudden. He has another long-distance Stormbolt. Mountain King, by the way, got bought back, so he used the resources for that. But now Hawk on 38 supply, Blade on 39. There is quite the difference in resources on the two players, though. And that is a pretty neat position now for Blade. I mean, again, Hawk isn't out of this yet, so don't get me wrong. But losing the Shredder just after you bought it, losing the Mountain King too, that's a huge blow. And he lost a few units in the process, of course, too. So that didn't do him any favors there either. That's a massive, massive issue now. They both still have an expansion, so that's at least that. And we're having the second hero now coming in for at least Blade. But, oh damn, Hawk might be in a world of pain now. That was problematic, to say the least. So now Zeppelin is coming in again, and he could actually start to just simply drop on his opponent. There's also a Shredder now in play. And we have a level 4. Oh my god, and he has the Scourge Bone Chimes now too. Okay, so he gets actually an aura item. Second attempt now for Hawk to creep the right side of the map. Gets Belt of Giant Strength. That's extra damage, that's extra hit points. Nothing to really, I mean, that's pretty good. Okay, there's a Zeppelin now as well. But let's see how this is going to pan out. Obviously, it's now time for the Archmage to come in and not only get the Water Mantle into play later on, but it's more so about the Brilliance Aura than anything else. And there's a bit of creeping going on as we speak. And down here, we actually have a Blood Mage as the second hero for Hawk. So he's going to try and get all of this done with the Blood Mage here and pass a bit of mana over to the first hero and drain it away, of course, now too. But still, the situation has definitely changed. We have 1,300 gold for Blade, and he's at 47 supply. It's a bit of a drop, on the other hand, up towards the top. And Hawk is now at 46 supply himself, but he definitely doesn't command the resource that his opponent does. That little attack, on the other hand, is kind of neat. Having that clap on 2, being pretty efficient against those workers, is kind of nice right now. But still, it's going to be shut down. Can he threaten that in any way? Nah, not really. But he got himself a couple of towers, so once those turrets are up, it's going to be a safe expansion for him. But Blade is now at 50 supply, 800 gold still for him. We have 46 supply and 500 gold for Hawk as he starts to build a couple more farms now too. The Blood Mage, by the way, is now in business. Blood Mage is here. Just a little bit of scouting on the other side. Blood Mage is still, of course, without any experience whatsoever. A little bit of experience for the Archmage. It's not really a huge advantage that he has, but again, in the mirror match, it's all about those small advantages that you can that you are able to eke out over time.
Forces are under attack.
And that's the thing. So, over here, what do we have? Expansion, still sitting tight. Main base, the tech into castle. Obviously, for his opponent, we see the same thing now. And it's all about the tech at this point. Arcane Sanctums, both are in. Workshop, another barracks is being built. Over here, more dropping. We got 2 Arcane Towers, and he's gonna take down that Zeppelin. The Zeppelin is down, so that thing is dead. The rest of the army is there to defend now too. Was currently creeping, but he can easily move in here. And I mean, that's eventually gonna be a town portal. The question is just what happens before the town portal, and it seems like we're gonna see the Blood Mage die, and indeed he does. Level 2 for the Archmage. Hawk is losing ground. He has a lot of resources still, has to rebuy his hero now, but it's also an experience question. And that Blood Mage, the Blizzard being available now for the level 2 Archmage, that is starting to be a problem too. Now in supply, we have 46 against 50. And both are investing a lot of resources now into their tech after they just completed the castle tech. Especially when we're looking towards the heroes. We have the 3rd hero as a paladin now coming in. Of course, Animal War Training, one of the biggest things that got buffed by Blizzard and incredibly powerful, is now in too. No 3rd hero on the side of Blade just yet though. So we currently have him with Blizzard starting to get some damage in here. We have the spellcasters already in play. That little bastard is nearly level 5, 4.7. Same is, by the way, true for his opponent. Potion of Mana in the inventory now as well. It's a little bit of scouting here. But yeah, this game is going to become super interesting now. Because at this point, we have Hawk stabilizing, 65 supply for him. He needs to be a bit worried about his 2nd hero's XP, for sure. Because the Archmage is nearly level 3 now, and there's not that many camps on the map any longer. Both players can still get the 2nd gold mine crap free, and which is exactly what Blade and Hawk are now both doing. But still, in terms of experience, losing the Mountain King earlier was a problem. There's level 5, that's going to be level 3, finds the Ankh, okay. And yep, there we have level 3 for him now. So that's a Blizzard on level 2, and still the Brilliance Aura in action. And of course, he can still scout here, but one flying machine is going to take this bad boy down one way or another. Both now also with the 3rd hero. So we're getting to a part of the game where it's actually going to be about heroes, heroes, and heroes. And of course, also about the army composition that they're both running here. A couple of items are even being sold. And, well, there we go. Clap on level 3 on both sides. And Stormbolts on 2 for both of them. At the bottom, Knights are coming in. So far without upgrades. And the Blood Mage is in level 3 now too. So Blade actually caught up. He's even a little bit ahead on the Paladin. 77 supply for Hawk. And we have 66 for Blade. So Blade is in supply, actually behind. Now, we have at least a staff. We have a staff of Sanctuary on the side of him. And can maybe snipe something away here. Nope, both already have their staff. And it's getting used right away. Not really too much to kill here, but Blade is now ahead in the supply numbers at 77. And has his high level heroes now too. Yeah, it's getting a little bit dicey. I mean, seriously. Now you're actually looking at a spot where pretty much the entire map has been crept. There's no mercenary or creep camps anymore. And yeah, the question... Oh my god, look at the upgrade advantage for him though. 2-2 on the Knights. 2-2 upgrades for him on Knights and Footman. And as I said previously, we don't have a single upgrade for Hawk. 80 supply, but this is a quality over quantity setup that we have. Yeah, Stormbolt, and immediately the Drain is in. Gets away for now, but those upgrade levels should make a big difference later on. I mean, of course, the more time you now give Hawk, the sooner he's going to be back to business with his own upgrades. But off we go. So right now, the big battle with 74 supply against 78. Hawk is already losing a little bit and is losing the Mud Golem too. And it's just clappity clap time. Everybody is clapping away like there's no tomorrow. There's no scrolls or anything. Actually, in this case, we have one at least available. And there's the TP out as Blade is hitting the panic button. 72 supply for him, but Hawk got a bit bodied in that battle. He's down to 66 supply now, and he started with the much better numbers. So now that we actually have Blade yielding the field of battle for just a second, can just recover there for a moment. Look over to the Mountain King, and he has a Scroll of the Beast in the inventory. But yeah, those numbers, one armor up, one attack upgrade is all that he has right now. But on the other hand, it's 3-3, and that's a huge difference on this part.
Forces are under attack.
Huge difference. Alright, bit of scouting gets taken out again, and blacksmith is now done. Actually, I actually thought he still had one. Ah, there's the upgrade, okay. So now we have the third attack upgrade coming in. Yeah, but it's at the end of the day now about the items. So Blade is up to 78 supply again, 79 for Hawk. And eventually, both players will have to think about getting another source of income, because the main gold mines are now down to 3,000. Still quite a bit of money, don't get me wrong, but still, eventually, it's going to become an issue. And there we go. There is our next source of income. That was already anticipated, so off we go. No level 2 on any of those third heroes just yet, by the way. 1-1 knights now. He's catching up. He's catching up in upgrades. That level 3 attack upgrade is going to take some time, but still, there isn't an upgrade advantage for Blade. And honestly, Blade should try and use that now. If he can move in and start to deal some damage, that is, in Mirror in particular, that actually matters. And both of them have now also a Skull of Healing, which obviously makes perfect sense considering that they're just clapping the entire time here. So there's a lot of applause during all of this. But the Knights at the front here, the illusions are actually kind of nifty too. There's a lot of damage coming in. The immediate scroll being used. Another clap. And those are going to be a couple of kills at least. That Blizzard is, of course, nothing to sneeze at either. That's a lot of AoE that's actually coming through here. Not only the clap, but also the Blizzard on top of it. Hawk is at 69 supply. Blade is at 65. Staffs of Sanctuary get used the entire time here. Oh, but the Paladin is down. Blade losing his third hero. And he is actually starting to lose a lot more there too. But Hawk, look at the supply numbers that he lost. Holy shit. If Blade can keep his army alive, the remaining part of his army, that would be a huge deal right now. Because Hawk is down to 56 supply, and he doesn't have a lot of spare gold that he can use in order to reproduce his army. 66 for Blade. He might have lost the third hero, but he is still looking pretty Gucci here. And here comes the damage once again. That Shredder is about to get shredded. Not that it's a problem for Hawk. He has 1,500, so he has a lot. But now his entire army is just on the run, and for good reason. He is far behind. He caught up in a few of the upgrades. He's only one upgrade behind now. But there's a Stormbolt, and it's a big one. Perfectly placed. And that's a kill on the Blood Mage. Second hero is down. Hawk is in trouble. He's already behind in the best of 5. And this seems like it could honestly be match point for Blade. He goes for the Mountain King. If he has just a little bit more mana. No, not quite. Ah, the damage isn't enough, and the MK gets away. MK gets away, gets the scroll. Blade was following quite a bit. Loses another Spellbreaker, but Hawk is at 56 supply. Blade is at 68, and he is trying to take that base down. That's one of the big differences between the two players here. Hawk was going for an expansion, and Blade just said, nope. I'm going to invest in the army here, and we're going to make this work. 3 attack upgrades now on those Knights for Blade, and thanks to the mortar teams in the back, this Town Hall is not going to make it. And that's Hawk at 66 supply, losing his expansion. Gonna lose a few of those peasants now too. Blade by now is at 74. Upgrades, still the 1-2 on the side of Hawk. And that's a level up. Level 6 for the Mountain King. For Kasmodan! Shut the fuck up. Alright, so now that we have the ult in the game too for him, he is going to be an absolute monster. I mean, he already was before, but this is going to make matters worse. So, Blade, again, ahead in the numbers. Not only does he have much better upgrades on his hero, on his units, but he also just shut down the base and is ahead in supply. So, this is going to be more than just a little bit tricky for the red player to come back into. Hawk has a problem at his hands now. There's a few flares. Scouting is everything right now. But as we talked about the main gold mines, 780 gold now on both sides. So those are not going to be in game for much longer. And then it's all a question of whether or not Blade wants to set himself up with another expansion 2. Or if he just says, like, well, screw it. There's no level 2 yet for his Paladin, by the way. But the Archmage is on level 4 already. Blood Mage is still on level 3. And of course, there is the difference in levels on the first heroes. And that mana pool is just nuts. 525. It's a ton of damage that you can do with Clap and Stormbolt. 1 scroll of healing on each team now. On each player's hands. On each army. Down here, still, Aura is a bit of an advantage. Both are heading for the shops. No expansion attempts at all. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability is getting bought by both Paladins, trying to stay alive for a bit longer. The Parrot of Vitality has been passed over by Hawk to his 3rd hero now too, in order to keep him alive just a little bit more. And, well, still scouting. Having the flying machine here allows him to see whenever Blade is setting up another expansion, or at least tries to. Now, same thing is happening at the bottom of the map as we see the peasants moving in and double checking if there's maybe another town hall being built up. The answer to that is no. 80 supply. Pretty much on both sides again. Upgrades, 2-1. Still no additional upgrade for Hawk. 3-2, so he's 2 upgrades ahead. And he's currently also getting the +3 armor upgrade. That is going to become a problem, as I said. I mean, there's at least the second attack upgrade now coming in, but no matter how this turns out, as the next fight starts, the chances of Blade being ahead with 2 upgrades, 1 armor and 1 attack upgrade, are pretty much 100%. I guess the Scout Tower, I mean, it's all about vision at this point now to an extent too. Mana potion on the Mountain King for both sides. Mana flares everywhere, and both of them are a little bit, a little bit cautious with this. We would love to have that level 2 at least in my end. Okay, and there we go again. Hawk is already building himself another base, and Blade is doing the same thing. Setting the scout towers up, both of them also are going to have that vision. And Blade is actually going to be met with a little bit of resistance here at the top, as it seems. Yep, 2 upgrades. Attack upgrade is done. Over here, also completed, so we have 3-3 now for him. And off we go. Here comes the attack. And where's the Mountain King? Already sitting at the front. Yep, Blizzard is going to come in soon. Stormbolt, drain. Draining him quickly, and there we go. Avatar already being used for Khasmodan, baby. This time the Shredder of Blade is also joining the fun. Has 900 lumber, and he deems that's going to be enough. Level up already for the Paladin for Blade. That's a good touch for him. We have 75 against 71 supply here, and still the drain of the Blood Mage is just ongoing as everybody's just clapping around. There comes one Blizzard after another, and that level 4 Archmage is already doing wonders. Blade down to 66 supply, Hawk at 75, but a lot of those units are incredibly low. Another clap is already eliminating a few of them. Scrolls of healing used by both players as we speak, but Blade in trouble, and the Paladin gets stuffed out. Hawk has to use the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability to save his MK though, trying to put some pressure onto the Mountain King, but there's the GG as Blade just murders the army of Hawk and takes the heroes down. He drops the Paladin. The Mountain King was about to fall too, and that's where he yields the field of battle. Hawk taps out, and Blade takes the best of 5 series, wins it with a 3-1 victory, and advances to the semifinals of the winner bracket to face off against Happy. Thank you everybody for watching the video today. I hope that you enjoyed the show and the commentary. And keep in mind that the spoiler protection that is going to run for the rest of the video is made possible by all the support on patreon.com. So guys, if you want to support my work, if you want to help me start new projects and keep the spoiler protection in place, please consider heading over to patreon.com/Khaldor. There's also a link in the YouTube description, and check that out. Thanks in advance, and see you guys next time with more esports coverage here on KhaldorTV. Have a great day.